Hey everybody, Paul here again with ADV for Me. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another DIY episode. In today's episode, we're going to be creating a trail jack from parts and pieces that you can acquire from your local hardware store. So stay tuned. So spring is here. It's landed, but it's still cold and a little shitty out, so I'm not riding yet, but it's coming soon. In saying that, I decided to go through my tool roll and sort of do an edit and update and see what I might need in order for me to be able to attack any type of issues that we may have trailside. And the one thing that I realized I don't have the ability to do is get the bike off the ground, front or the rear, to service for a flat tire or to even just do a simple maintenance task like oiling the chain. So I did what most of us ADV riders do, and I hit the good old internet. And I found some awesome commercially available options, but to get them to my neck of the woods, I have a challenge spending over $100 shipped for something that I think I can make quite simply out of things that I can find at my local hardware store. So today, we're gonna do just that. So again, if you haven't seen anything like this online yet, or you're curious as to what I'm talking about, a trail jack is just a simple apparatus, and you can actually make them out of a crutch if you want, but I just didn't like the physical format of the crutch version. So again, we're gonna get into my idea and build one. We're gonna build one. So the idea is to be able to hook the trail jack into the front of my Camel skid plate, which will help lift the bike to get the front wheel off. And then for the rear end, what I'll do is I'll have it so that I can adjust it a little bit lower, and it will basically connect to the bottom of the bobbin here, and it'll allow us to, again, lift the back of the bike up to either take the rear wheel off or to oil the chain while out on our epic journeys. So anyways, now we're going to get into what I've picked out from the hardware store and begin the build. All right, so these are the items that I think I'm going to be able to put together in order to make something that will be strong enough and small enough for a trail jack that I'd be happy to carry along in my bag. So again, this is my Endurosand tool roll. This has all my tools that I use on the bike, and then I have a separate tire kit which has a spare tube. I've got the Motion Pro rim protectors. I have my air pump. And what else have I got in here? Oh, I made this. I gotta show you this. This was a real simple thing I've seen, and again, this is not something that costs a lot to purchase, but I thought, you know what, I'll just make my own. So this here is my valve stem puller. So I can basically just thread this valve through the rim into the tube and be able to pull it back through, and it weighs literally nothing. So I just thought I'd show you that. So anyway, so here we are. So I've got some some steel rod here, which is around 9.5 millimeters outside diameter. I have this aluminum tube here, which has an inside diameter of around 10 millimeters. I have some threaded rod. I've got this clip here. I have this, which will be the foot, which will then also have this go over top of it. I have a wing nut. I've got a threaded insert, and I have a T-nut. So let's put all this into action, and I'll show you what I'm thinking. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just cut this down to the length that I need. This obviously is gonna be the portion that will have holes in it, and it'll adjust based on the height that I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this now with my grinder. Get my safety goggles on here. Safety first, folks, safety first. I say that, and I'm about to use power tools in a questionable manner. Wait, you'll see. Now I'll just take the grinder and just put a bit of an edge on that just to round it out a little bit, take away the sharpness. Now I'm going to take this over to the drill press, and we're going to be putting in 4 holes. This is 9 inches, and I'll basically start the first hole at 4 inches. So basically it'll be 4 inches on each end, so it won't matter what way this goes into the tube when it's ready to be used. I'm going to try and line these up as well as possible. Make sure this is going to go down far enough. Perfect. So now I'm going to cut this a little bit longer than what I actually need. Again, I'm going to be using my drill in order to do some polishing, and I'll cut off the end because I think the drill will actually leave some knurl marks in it. So I want this to be super pretty. So I'm going to walk over now to the miter saw and use it in a questionable manner. For sure. Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. No, aluminum's pretty soft. So this is going to give me a nice clean cut. So we're going to go do that now. Again, don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Like butter. All right, so what I'm going to do now, again, the idea is to have this threaded barb in the end of this tube. It has a shoulder, which is great because it'll be captured by the end of the aluminum tube. So I'm going to put some thread in here because I plan on putting this in, and when I do this, I'm going to put some JB Weld in there, and the thread will help lock in the JB Weld. So I'm just going to take my tap, and I'm just going to tap this out a little bit and just give it a little bit of a thread on the inside. Not a lot, just enough to give it something to bite into. So again, it's not super clean, but the whole point is to create a bit more surface area for the JB Weld to actually bite into. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up a bit of that now. That should thread right in. Perfect. So while we're talking here about DIY and having fun creating things, I called my local dealer to find out how much it would cost to do all the things that I did in my maintenance series. So if you haven't checked out my maintenance series, I did a 7-part series on, some of the basic maintenance things that you can do on your bike. And it turns out that by doing it myself, I saved $813.90. Now, those aren't Canadian dollars, but nonetheless, it's always nice being able to save money, and it's a great thing too, because if you happen to have a problem on the trails, knowing how to get access to certain things or how to perform basic tasks is obviously important. So all right, so I've got this JB Weld here all mixed up nicely here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stuff some into the tube where the thread is. Just work it around, and I'll take a little bit and I'll put it onto the actual threaded insert here, trying to get any in the actual hole, and then I'm going to just thread this in. Too small, and this one's too big. It's over here. On the drill. So I'm just going to go ahead and just thread this in. Beautiful. Now I'll just grab some paper towel and clean that up. So now, I'm hoping this works. It should work. Just going to blow out that bit of JB Weld that's in there now. Clean out the hole. So now, you've got the threaded insert, and it's basically the same diameter, which is great, of this aluminum. And again, the idea here, see if this works here, it should be just fine. So this is going to thread in. This is the base or the foot. And then what I've done is I've got this rubber little plug, this rubber boot that goes over top, and it makes it so that it won't slip. It fits great. So it won't slip. If you're on a hard surface, it won't slip, and it'll bite into the ground a bit more. So that actually works great. But that ain't going nowhere. So that's working great. So now I'm just going to clean those threads off. Make sure that the JB Weld is not in the way. That's good. It looks good. Looks clean. We'll set that aside for now. Now I have to. The idea here is to have this threaded rod through here, and I'm going to basically create a cap that goes on top of the steel, and this is basically what's going to make my hook, which will go on the rear bobbin or into the skid plate to secure the trail jack. What I'm going to do now is use power tools again in a questionable manner, and I'm going to try and grind off the shoulder of this T-nut here so that it's the same diameter as the tube. I'm just going to lock this into my vise, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this up to speed, and I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use the disc to grind this down. So let's give this a try. Fingers crossed. I think that's good. All right. That worked better than I thought. See how that is for size. Yeah, I can go down just a little bit smaller. She's hot. All right. Careful not to burn myself here. Whew. Oh, would you look at that? Perfect. Now I'm just going to take some sandpaper, some 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to give this a little polish so it's a little bit smoother on the fingers. Perfect. So now that we have that, I'm going to take this threaded rod. Actually, may actually be long enough. Actually, looks like it is. So I have this little piece of threaded rod in here, and the idea is to, oh, look at that, it's perfect. So this is going to be JB welded onto here, and this is going to create, again, our hooking point, our mounting point to go onto the bike. So I'm just going to quickly mix up some more JB weld. And then I'm going to drill a hole through the top of that in order to have it all secure. All right, so let's just mix this up quickly here. All right. So I'm just going to take some JB weld, put it on the thread, and this will just help lock it into place so that it doesn't come apart. Okay, and then we'll do the tip here. Beautiful. A little bit more. Get that nice and flush. That's funny that piece was the right length. I just had that piece laying around. Perfect, so I'll let that obviously dry. But what I'm going to do now, again, this is the top part of my design, and what I'm going to do is just drill a hole through the tube and right through the T-nut and the threaded rod. And then what I'm going to do is just put a zip tie through here to keep this together so it doesn't get lost. I think before doing that though, what I'll do is I will polish this and then cut this down to the finished length before I drill the hole. So again, I made this a bit longer so that I can just toss this into the drill here. Hopefully it fits. It does. And I just want to give this a little clean, a little polish so it looks a little bit nicer. So I'm going to start with 400 grit and I'm going to hit it with some 1000 grit. See if this just, oh yeah, just to try and give this a bit of a nicer look, more finished look. I need 2 1/4 inches out of that finished, so that's, yeah, that's enough. Now I'll hit it with the 1000 grit. 400 to 1000 grit, yeah, it should be fine. Oh yeah, look at that shine. That looks a bit nicer. While we're at it, I'll do the other one. So this is the finished end. Stick that in there. Again, 400 grit. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just getting tucked away in my bag, so who cares really, but might as well give it a bit of effort. So you can see the before and after, so it's amazing what a little bit of sandpaper can do to aluminum. So now I'm just gonna mark this and cut this down to 10 inches. Use my little marker here. Right about there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this again. Looks good. And then this one here should be at around 2 1/4 inches. Cut this one quickly. This one's shorter, so I gotta be a little more careful. Beautiful. All right, so we're getting close. We're getting close to completion here. So my brainstorming idea here was to have, this is the foot, which again is in that bottom threaded portion. We have the boot that goes on the bottom to create our foot, which works great. And then this rod here will go inside like this. I gotta drill a hole in here. This is gonna be on top like this, with this being the top, which is the hook. So that's basically it in its design form. So just going to do the finishing touches now. And while I have the drill out, I'm going to go ahead and just give this a quick polish. Might as well. So same thing. I'm just going to go from 400 grit to 1000. Oh yeah, well, that looks much nicer. And what I'll do too is give this a quick hit with some ACF 50 before storing it so that it doesn't rust. So back to the 400 for the tip here. See that difference? It's cool. All right, moving on. So now I'm just going to take this over and drill a hole through here, which will be the spot where I end up using a zip tie just to keep it together. And I'm going to use the same size drill. Okay, so now I have a zip tie in here somewhere, which I'm going to just place through here. Like this. Pull this tight. And we have one last step to do before my hardware store trail jack is complete, and that's to drill a hole in here. I'm just going to trim this off, so just give me a second here. Cool, okay. Now, again, I'm just going to drill a hole in here. that's it. Moment of truth, folks. Let's see if this actually works. I'm extremely confident that it will. So the idea again here, let's see if this is going to line up okay for the holes. Yep. Okay, so take the pin, put the pin through. Go. All right, so there it is. There's my idea in its entirety. So again, 15 bucks, maybe $20 in materials. We're gonna now test it out. So again, the Camel ADV skid plate has holes all over really, and I thought I would utilize the front here in order to make this work. So I'm just gonna grab the front of the bike. I'm gonna stick this into the groove here, and then I'm gonna lean the bike back onto the kickstand. Easier said than done. Bing bang, boom. So now I'm able to service the front wheel, take it off, fix my flat. It's pretty sturdy. I mean, it's obviously it's flexing a little bit, but I think they all probably do that. So to use it in the back, I'm just gonna get this back out, lift the bike, flip it out. To do it in the back, I'll have to put it into the lower setting. Let's see here how low we have to go. Probably in the second hole. Okay, so I've got that one in the second hole. And again, the idea is just to go underneath here like this. So the back one I think is actually easier to lift. So you just put your weight into it and lift the bike up a little bit. And there you go. Now, what I'm also going to do is include in my little kit a piece of Velcro, which I'll just grab from over here. I got this little piece of Velcro, which I can wrap around the front brake to lock the front brake so that it does not, the front wheel doesn't roll. So I've got the Velcro, front brake is locked. Now there's no concern of the bike rolling forward. Now I can just put this into first gear, or sorry, neutral. And I can now oil the chain or take off the rear tire to fix a flat. So there you have it, folks. Again, it cost me around $15 to make and packs down quite small. All right, so this is it. This is my kit. I'm gonna weigh this now because everybody seems to be fascinated with what things weigh. So I've got the outer sleeve, the inner tube, I got the cap, with the mount, I got the Velcro on there for the front brake lever, I've got the clip and the boot, the foot, sorry. And it's coming in, I'm gonna guess and say that's gonna be 260 grams, 250 grams. 224 grams. So this again packs down nice and small. I got this little pouch here from my old Beats headphones, which I can use as a little pouch. So again, this fits all nicely in my tire bag, my tire repair bag. Boom, that's it. So, hope you got something out of this today and look forward to seeing you in the next one. And thanks so much for subscribing. If you haven't, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, notification bell for new and upcoming videos. Thanks and safe riding.